You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. This is Making Tracks. Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
It's not true. That's impossible.
We're stood outside the BFI IMAX in London near Waterloo. We've just seen the first two episodes of Ahsoka. I'm going to work around the crowd and see what everybody thinks. It's really noisy, there's loads of rebels over there. Andy, first impressions of what you've just seen?
Cinematic, incredible score by Kevin Kiner.
Yeah.
Really amazing to see it on the big screen with that audio of the IMAX as well. Couple of sort of bullet points that popped into my head. The first appearance of Ahsoka, where she's walking up some steps, and it's the opposite shot of her leaving season 5 of the Clone Wars, where she disappears down.
Yeah.
And that whole first sequence could well have been in black and white with all the contrast that was in there. Very Kurosawa.
Yeah.
So love the whole thing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And seeing it with an audience makes a difference, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And just quickly, with it being up on the big screen, I mean, they said this isn't formatted for IMAX, but it's good.
It's okay.
It's okay. It definitely worked being on the big screen like that, didn't it?
Yeah, the effects. You couldn't tell it was taking place in the volume.
No.
It was just big.
They've cracked that now,
And the action was really pumping. The characters were amazing, and can't wait for next week.
Why can't we do that every week?
I know.
Why can't we just go to the cinema every week? Oh, my co-host is here.
Hello there.
Hello, Mark.
Hello.
What did you make of that?
I thought it was pretty darn good.
Being on the big screen, just saying to Andy, being on the big screen makes a difference because it's so full on and sort of cinematic.
Yep.
I'm saying, I wish we could do this every week.
Oh, God, could you imagine? Can you imagine watching Ahsoka or any Star Wars on an IMAX every single week? I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Seeing it with the crowd is a bit decent, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, some people anyway, you know. But the thing is, in a screen like this, they let anybody in, don't they, Mr. Lee Towersey? How you doing?
Well done, Mark. Thank you. Hello, how you doing, all right?
Oh, very well. How are you?
Good, yeah, very well, thank you.
Did you enjoy?
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, really, really did. Yeah, I thought it was great. I preferred the first episode to the second episode, personally.
Yeah.
I must confess, I haven't really watched all of Rebels.
Right.
So people that have seen Rebels, hark at you, Tuttin, were saying, I wonder how you're going to think about it, you know, not knowing Rebels background. But no, I thought it was great. You know, of course, there's some new characters to me because I don't know Rebels, but I thought it was great. Some interesting characters in it. Nicely paced storyline,
Well, there's a question,
and lots of interesting droids, which is of course what I'm always looking out for.
Because you've not seen Rebels, and a couple of people have said that. Dave Filoni said you don't need to have seen Rebels to get it.
Exactly.
But when they were talking about, I mean, you've heard of Ezra, you kind of know. What that
absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
Was that enough for you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah, I didn't even feel as though I needed to know that. You know, just a small background I do have. I've touched on Rebels because I was interested in Chopper, to see the Chopper character in Rebels.
Yeah.
That's what the only reason I just skimmed it. Take care. See ya. But yeah, I don't think you really need to know much about Rebels at all to enjoy that, for sure, from what I've seen so far.
Yeah. And you mentioned the droids.
Yeah,
Impressed?
yeah, very good. Yes, yeah, I know Josh Roth now. I met Josh Roth at Celebration this year.
Yeah.
I know he did some work on the droids, especially Chopper.
Yeah.
And nice work. Yeah, really good.
Speaking of which,
we won't get you on set cueing sounds, no?
just the big build. The big build. So you're invested here, you're still going. You're invested now, so you're
definitely.
ready
Exactly.
for
Yeah, and who knows, I might go to Rebels as well after this and say, now I get it even more.
It's going to get a boost.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's going to get a boost, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And
really
how's
good.
life with you? You're keeping busy?
Not so much now because of the damn strikes. But no, I'm sure once they get the strikes resolved, then we can get back into what we were doing and what we plan to do in the near future as well.
Good.
Yeah.
It's really good to see you, mate.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Okay. Take care.
Brilliant. And you.
See you, mate.
So, Claire.
Hello.
You were 2 seats down from me.
I was.
I heard the odd squeak and squeal.
Yeah, I giggled a lot.
Yeah.
There's a few things, a bit of humour in it, which is quite good.
Yeah.
I'm not into, it all just being a bit serious in that sense. So there was a couple of giggles in it for me. I was interested to hear Lee say that you didn't have to watch Rebels to understand it, because Richard and I have just had a conversation where we thought, you missed a lot of nuances if you hadn't watched Rebels. I think you see it on a different level if you've seen Rebels. I think that's more. Yes, I think he's right. You don't need to have watched Rebels to understand it or to see it. You just see it on a level, but having seen Rebels, it made it a lot easier to follow, to understand, to see where they were going, to see what the motivation and everything for it was.
And it was nice to see some of those recreated shots from the very start of like season 1 of Rebels.
Yes.
Low fall on that. So,
I mean, Rich, you mentioned you'd seen the last 2 episodes of Rebels before you saw this.
I watched them yesterday, just to catch up. And like you're saying, you want to look back at it, at Rebels, and catch up. I think there's been a list of episodes you should watch before seeing this, and maybe that's a good idea to do that first.
You're glad you did that?
Yeah. Just so you freshen it up in your mind.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it, because Rebels was quite a while ago since it was on.
That's true. But 5 years,
I mean, unless I've forgotten something, and I think we touched on this last week, but like there was no hint of Sabine having any kind of force sensitivity in Rebels.
None.
So, we hypothesised, didn't we, that maybe she's just been trained to use a lightsaber. It's not necessarily the case that she's a force user, but she is.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how they work that.
Exactly, and maybe that could be one of those flashbacks. I mean, that could be a bit of exposition they just chuck in later on. Because obviously they've talked about there's a break-up between Ahsoka and Sabine, and it was Ahsoka who left. But obviously we don't know what that was about. We don't understand what the circumstances are. And the music cue, so talking about that, very indie, very Marion and indie, which makes me think, I wonder if it was actually more of a romantic thing than just necessarily just
That's an interesting
Padawan master thing, i.e. I wonder if it got a little bit too close.
Yep, that's a really good call. Music. Oh, go on.
I was going to say that was the one bit that I did giggle at when he said if it had been a long time ago, you wouldn't even have made the cut to be force sensitive. So I thought that was quite telling.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah. I thought that did make me giggle a bit, but I think you could be right on that theory.
Yeah, but also scraping the bottom of the force sensitivity barrel. Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see. But I mean, she held her own against Shin. Yeah, exactly. Fairly well. Yeah. Until she didn't.
Just a quick question on that, because the end of that first episode, whoa, she's down. Fade to black. Did you think, hang on?
Yes, I thought she was dead, and I thought, yay! Some, a bit of,
proper twist.
A proper twist in it, and then it was like, oh no, here she goes, she's awake.
You're just sick.
I am sick.
Yeah.
I do like that sort of twist and things like that. But this is Star Wars.
Yeah, nobody dies. Exactly, and everybody comes back.
Nobody's
just
ever really gone.
Slightly more robotic than the last time you saw them. But I mean,
I've expected the mechanical stomach like Shan, to be honest.
But then actually, again, they kind of showed it pretty well. That she was run through, but like it was to the side, so it was equivalent of being shot in the shoulder.
The Qui-Gon was obviously through the spine, wasn't it?
Exactly. Severing, all sorts of stuff, and I think maybe she just dodged maybe, and has one less kidney or something like that.
Yeah,
smaller liver. I don't know. So
tis but a mere flesh wound.
Exactly. Exactly.
What did you make of the music? I thought the music was really impressive.
Yeah, pretty poignant, fairly heavy, I think. I mean, and also we've got proper rock now in Star Wars.
That needs to come out. That Sabine track on the motorway, that needs to come out.
That would be good to hear what Andy thinks about the music, particularly from his sort of music. I could hear him when we were at the start of just before it all, the music was playing on and on and on, and I said to him, are you listening to this so you know how to do this?
There was that really cool track when Sabine's on the speeder going down the
Japanese metal.
Yes. What did you make of that? As our muso?
Well, my ears prick up as a drummer. Every time I hear like a traditional rock drum beat in Star Wars, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Yeah. It happened there was an episode of Andor, and the closing credits were just drums, and I was like, it's kind of cool. And I felt the same way today, like the diegetic music, the in-universe music. they started it in Rebels with, I think Zeb was listening to some sort of rock and roll stuff on the radio. And I think it's got its place in Star Wars, and I've kind of got used to it now. At first it was a bit jarring.
They did it at Star Wars, they did it in places.
It's in the games, it's in the new Fallen Order game where you can download different songs and play it in the cantina and stuff.
The online game?
Yeah, some of that was a bit rocky.
And Blues Harvest do it as well live, so...
Beautiful plug.
It'd be interesting to get a translation as to find out what they were singing about.
It would. It really would.
Yeah.
It really would. So, we're going to work around...
Yo.
Mr. Paul.
Hello.
What did you make of that episode? The only Fantha we haven't spoken to yet. What did you make of that?
I enjoyed it.
You have thoughts?
I did enjoy it. I was watching it with the filter of, would I enjoy it if I hadn't watched Rebels?
Yeah, that was mentioned a moment ago, yeah.
And I was just kind of talking to Lee there, and Lee was saying that he hadn't watched it, so I found his take fascinating, actually. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
So
I thought
you took more from it if it's in Rebels, clearly.
Yeah. For the first, that was good, 10-15 minutes or so, I thought the music did a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, very true.
Which I enjoyed. Like that scene where she was finding the map itself, that was just pure music.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was... the Star Trek opening.
Yes.
That was just pure... in fact, the red...
Red scroll.
The red, that caught me off guard.
It reminded me of
familiar,
the Rogue One when they
familiar but different.
Yeah.
And then it was like a Star Trek opening, which was like, right, what's going on here?
And then you have the bridge.
Like, okay. But no, enjoyed it.
You're invested. You're ready for episode 3.
Yeah, I would like to watch it here every week.
We've all said this.
It's a long way to come.
I would like to.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Matt, haven't had your thoughts yet.
Haven't you?
No.
Haven't you?
What do you think of it?
Loved it.
There you go.
Wish I could watch all the episodes on the big screen with all our friends around us. It was beautiful to see it on the big screen. There is visuals in it that you will not, unfortunately, get on your telly at home. And it is a real shame we can't get to the big screen at an epic event like this. Just beautiful, great storytelling, revisiting places we've known, seeing places we've heard of, seeing places we've seen before, but just beautiful. Absolutely beautifully crafted by Filoni.
Well, that's it. See, that felt like a transition from the animation onto the...
With no spoilers, the credit said by Dave Filoni, written by Dave Filoni, done by Dave Filoni, created by George Lucas, and you're like, that's the lineage we need, and more... You can't get it in all our Star Wars. Filoni has been taught by George in the way of George making Star Wars. Everybody else who's made Star Wars since the Disney era is a fan making it the way they think it should be made, and Dave's making it the way it should be made.
And of the villains we got, Baylan Skoll. Well, I say villain. We don't quite know his motivation yet. But he's on that side, obviously.
He's not a villain. He's just a man for hire. He's just a man for hire, I think.
Yeah.
It comes across as just a man for hire.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of something going on somewhere there, but I don't exactly know what.
I mean, the girl Shin with the Padawan braid, and there's more to it than we know, isn't there?
We got very little info on those two at all. So we'll see where that goes. I'm looking forward to more next Wednesday night at 2 in the morning in the UK. Oh.
Yeah. We'll do a watch along, but for what it was, pretty damn good stuff.
Beautiful.
For everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video and social media feeds, bookmark FanthaTracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
You see the first 2 episodes now. I mean, you don't want to hypothesise what you're going to see, but they've set the stall out. They've got the tone. It's a very cinematic show. What do you kind of feel the tone-wise? Where do you think it's going to go? Do you think it's going to stay in that lane, or do you foresee sort of tweaks and twists?
I think you're going to be possibly surprised by some of the characters maybe not being what they seem to be already.
Yeah.
So, possibly the bad guys aren't a bad guy. Maybe a good guy isn't a bad guy.
Yes.
Or So, but I think that's going to be the twists. There's going to be some twists.
Yeah.
There has to be. You can't just... So you're not predicting the story.
Just saying to Matt, I mean, about Baylan Skoll and Shin, his apprentice, that's the relationship we assume. She doesn't seem like a Padawan. She seems more like an apprentice, a Sith side than a Jedi side.
She had the Padawan braid.
So there's something going on there, isn't there?
She's a Jedi Padawan for having the braid, because Sith don't do that. Or do
No, they don't.
No.
And is she older than she looks? You can never really tell.
So
the Balin's Padawan apprentice, she's a Padawan, whatever you want to call her.
She had Padawan braid, like
yes.
Sith, so she's a Padawan.
Yeah, but is she? I don't know.
It's interesting. It's an interesting call. We were just saying, Mark, about Shin and Balin, their relationship. Are they Jedi? Are they Sith? Are they part of the Lost 20? What are they?
They've got red sticks.
They're kind of orange sticks.
Aren't they?
And I think it's like Balin made that comment, like in the first episode, about being paid.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's kind of gone more mercenary and kind of, and monetized the Jedi a little bit. And again, because there's two different ways you can look at power. There's like the Emperor kind of power, and then there's power which is you get through money and through influence. So
he had some damn good Force powers though, when he's undoing the locks and stuff, and wiping out all the
And even
rebels.
at the end, when he's the final conversation at the end of the second episode, it's clearly there's a connection there. He's still
something's going on.
Exactly, but it's not that he doesn't want to know. He kind of feels like he needs to know.
Yeah.
There was an interesting connection.
Exactly, and also there's that slightly bittersweet kind of, because it's like, well, there's not that many Jedi left. So I don't really want to have to kind of like dispatch Ahsoka. And I think also from the viewers, for those who've kept up with the news, bittersweet because we know that the actor died before.
The first episode was dedicated to him.
So therefore, you kind of go, oh man, he's got a strong character.
But getting a bit of Morgan's history, which we never knew.
Yeah,
and it was interesting because we saw her in The Mandalorian in season 2.
Yes.
A character we didn't think we'd see again because it looked like Ahsoka had put her away.
Just like villain of the week.
Yeah. And bringing in, I can't remember his name, the guy who played the Kurgan in,
Clancy Brown.
Yeah. Yes. And I was like, oh my god, he's in Star Wars again.
Yeah, he was in Mando. He was Savage Press.
Yes.
So he's done a bit.
Yeah, he was the Devorian in Mando, wasn't he?
Yeah. Episode 6 of the first season.
He does sound like Krusty Krab.
So
there was a tone of very we're in SpongeBob territory.
Is he going to be a rebel? Is he going to be a baddie? Is he going to be a goodie? Is he going to be flipping Krabby Patties?
Like Clancy Brown, you always immediately assume that he's typecast as a baddie. So whether or not that means that he's going to be some kind of like corrupt.
No, Lothal looked
amazing,
bloody gorgeous.
I just thought Alderaan just had that vibe about it.
It was McQuarrie slapped up on the wall completely. McQuarrie just slapped on the wall, just beautiful.
Totally. And Corellia looked way more together than it did in Solo, obviously many years
It's a few years later, but seeing that properly in daylight in a big wide shot.
The visuals
on the
incredible.
Planets were way beyond what we've seen on TV.
Way beyond.
You think what we've seen on Mando, and it's all been very muted, small planets, small dwellings. We've been to a few places, we've been to Coruscant and that so far.
Ahsoka finds the city on her way to...
Oh god, that would never happen in any of the shows.
No.
The special effects they've done in it, and it was seamless.
Yeah.
I didn't spot any of the void. I spotted one bit that was a bit voidy, and the rest of it was, just...
So we feel Filoni's nailed it.
I think so.
In the sweet spot.
I think so. I mean, I think if I was going to grumble a little bit, I thought episode 1, the pacing was a little bit slow in places. I mean, I really liked, as a standalone bit, the Ahsoka in the temple.
Yes.
Figuring out the puzzle, because that's very Jedi Fallen Order, very Jedi
Fifth
Survival.
Element.
Very Dr. Aphra as well.
Fifth Element, completely.
But like those orbs are like very much what you see in Jedi Fallen Order, although they're much bigger. But I was kind of thinking, oh my god, this is like in Indiana Ahsoka. But the pacing was just that little bit more methodical, which of course they've got the time. They've clearly kind of like plotted it out and gone, right, this is going to be a 2-parter, irrespective of what happens. So it was working, but I thought there was just points where it's like I'm just going to move on along just a little smidge, which will. I don't think will affect people the first time watch it, but will make it a bit harder watch to return. Exactly.
I think when you watch all 6 or 7, whatever it is together, that'll be better. Is it 8? Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hu Yang Tumor, brilliant.
I was just going to say,
really well written.
David Tennant's played the role before. I think he won a daytime Emmy. I think for the role,
for the voice.
Yeah. Lovely bit of humour. I doubt he was on set. I'm sure they got somebody else to do the lines and then he came and fed it afterwards. But his delivery, lovely seeing hearing him in it.
Yeah.
Really good looking droid as well.
Really good.
Very old, didn't move so smoothly. Same as the HK droids at the start. When they came in to fight Ahsoka, they weren't smooth at all. They were very clunky as they came in.
But there were some complaints about the fight sequences being too slow. Online, I kind of get it. Like, I suppose it all depends upon what you're comparing to. If your gold standard is
End of Revenge of the Sith,
or
that
10-second spot in Phantom,
or
Duel of Fates, then it's like it's not going to be anywhere close. And you've got to remember, like, again, these are Jedi and like Force users who aren't practicing in the same way as they used to back in the day.
They're not at their peak.
No, exactly.
They haven't been training. But they haven't been training, you know. When has Balin and his Padawan trained at all? They may have trained and sparred together, but they've not trained against somebody else in a long, long time. They're very secret.
True.
We're in a time where they are completely hidden and secret. So, it's, who's Ahsoka fought in ages?
Exactly.
Yeah. She sparred with Huyang, that's about it.
Yeah.
They're out of practice, like Kenobi was and stuff in New Hope.
That's true.
But the good thing is, of course, like, we've kind of joined her mid-quest. So it means that there's a bit of space for a bit of backstory, a bit of a couple of comic story arcs and stuff like that, and auxiliary novels.
That's not going to happen. Not going to happen
in the Mandoverse.
So, Mark, what did you think when they showed us the galaxy map and then further? Because you love your galaxy, you love your maps.
I do. I love the map.
Yeah.
I love the iconography of that. What really threw me, and I literally sat back on my seat and was like, what? Was when they talked about another galaxy.
Yeah.
In Star Wars, to my recollection, they've only mentioned another galaxy once, and that was the Red Nebula back in the old Marvel comics. That was another galaxy.
Was another galaxy?
But now,
on the outer.
He's in the unknown regions, which is our galaxy. It's the Star Wars galaxy, but this time he's talking about a completely different galaxy.
Right.
So that threw me a bit, but it'll be very interesting to see how that one plays out. I'll be fascinated to see where that one goes.
Yeah, quite
Wasn't
interesting.
That.
Yeah, and I mean, you just think now potentially what could be the
the upshot of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it feels more like a Stargate.
It's a big decision to make to go that way.
Huge.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Huge.
Yeah.
So now is it like a long time ago, galaxies far, far away?
Yeah.
As if the one we've got ain't big enough.
No, because we all need the same characters.
Brilliant. I think that'll do us for our outside broadcast for today.
I think so, but it's been good fun.
Yes.
And it'll be a regular studio episode next week.
It will.
So
live from your front living room.
Live from my lounge on Saturday. So join us next week in Making Tracks, and of course we'll be back with reaction chats following Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever Ahsoka drops. Unfortunately, not in an IMAX.
No, sadly.
If you want to be part of the action, visit fanthatracks.com or be sure to comment, like and share on our social media feeds at Fanthatracks. Send in your listeners' questions by emailing radio@fanthatracks.com. Subscribe, leave a review, preferably a 5-star one, on Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcatcher or smart speaker of choice. And as always, thanks to James Temple for composing the Fanthatracks intro, Adam O'Brien for our Making Tracks opening music, and Mark Daniel and Vanessa Marshall for our voiceovers. Tune in to Good Morning Tatooine. It's live Sunday evenings, 9 o'clock UK, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, on Facebook, YouTube and Twitch, and check out our Fantha Tracks Radio Friday night rotation every Friday at 7 o'clock UK time for new episodes of The Phantom from Down Under, Planet Leia, Desert Planet Discs, Start Your Engines, Collecting Tracks, Cannon Fodder, and special episodes of Making Tracks, and every Tuesday at 7 o'clock UK time for your weekly episode of Making Tracks. And remember, fanthatracks.com, our social media feeds, Fantha Tracks TV and Fantha Tracks Radio are absolutely free. So no Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, Kickstarter or Indiegogo required to stay updated on all the latest Star Wars news.
War is inevitable. One must destroy in order to create. We are no Jedi.
I started hearing whispers of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
What happens when we find Thrawn?
Power, such as you've never dreamed.
I've spent most of my life fighting a war. That's why I'm trying to convince you to help me prevent another one. You and I both know who could help you with this.
She's still just as stubborn as ever.
I bet your master found you difficult at times.
Anakin never got to finish my training. I walked away from him, just like I walked away from Sabine.
You never made things easy for me, Master.
As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can. But I'm counting on you to see this through.
Nice haircut. Sometimes we have to do what's right, regardless of our personal feelings.
Buckle up.
If we don't stop Thrawn, everything will be in vain. You have no power.
Anakin spoke highly of you.
I'm not here to discuss my past.
We have a lot of work to do.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
Coming up next on Fantha Tracks Radio, it's Start Your Engines.